Now, on third down, he had to make some big throws, and he did. But to take the lead, Kyle did kind of go back to his
Right.
old way there, but then he immediately stepped on the gas. And I agree with what you said. Brock was given a Ferrari. Jimmy Garoppolo just tried not to crash it, and Brock wants to see how fast it could go 0 to 60.
Yeah. And it's so cool because I thought we got a glimpse into another dimension, right? Like, there's still a level to this offense we haven't seen because Deebo Samuel is only 6 weeks removed from his body being bent on top of his leg like a pretzel, right? He's still kind of finding his way back in. And we saw yesterday that, and I think, and I made this point on my post-game stream as well, and it's important to note, like, I think the one thing that's always been clear to me about this offense when he's been healthy is that it ran through Deebo. And then this was the first year I had like my concerns. Does it still run through Deebo? Because he was banged up early in the year. Then Christian McCaffrey came in and everything went through McCaffrey. Yesterday kind of brought me some clarity. This offense runs through Deebo and McCaffrey first. Everything is built around the versatility of those two players, the explosion, the explosiveness of both those players, the physicality of both those players. And it's awesome because Kittle and Ayuk are so good, and they're kind of outside weapons, and the bread and butter of this offense is Deebo and Christian McCaffrey. It's such a nice problem to have, and it's so cool to see, how well he's playing so quickly, because I thought that week 18 game, I was like, man, Deebo looks like a little bit rusty. It might take a couple weeks in the playoffs for him to get his feet under him, and I thought he started off the game rusty, and then it felt like, all right, the competitive juice is flowing. And, Deebo's a special competitor. He always plays big in big games. He did as a rookie in the playoffs in the Super Bowl, and then he played very well in the playoffs last year. Some might say he backpacked the 49ers. I would definitely say that on offense. And now it's cool to see because Ayuk has made such strides this year, and he's so good. McCaffrey is so good. Kittle is balling, and now you have Deebo looking like last year Deebo, but he doesn't have to carry the offense anymore.
9 touches, 163 yards, and a touchdown for Deebo. Christian McCaffrey, 136 total yards, 7 straight games with a touchdown. I agree the offense goes through those people, but when they need a big play, I feel like, and it's man coverage, they go Ayuk. I feel like that's the situation with the Niners.
I feel like they go Juwan Jennings a lot.
Well, that's true. That's true. They do go to Juwan.
Yeah.
But if it's man coverage, like I feel like they know Ayuk is better than Deebo. In that, against that, generally, it's Ayuk. Or they'll use McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Zone coverage, Deebo.
Yeah. Right. I mean, they could really use all of them in different ways. And one thing I want to point out, and it really stemmed from a conversation I was having with my dad after the game. So I was watching the playoff game with him. And he goes, the one cool thing about this team and these weapons, it seems that they seem to be so unselfish. And they seem to be so okay when their teammate is the one getting the ball and it's not them. And it doesn't seem to affect, first of all, their like kind of total morale, right? They're still out there competing and blocking, right? Ayuk kind of got phased out of this game in the second half. It became all Deebo, all McCaffrey, and there he was blocking his butt off on the Deebo touchdown as he's blocked all year. Kittle also, always. And I was thinking about it, and to me, actually, like, obviously, that is a credit to the culture. Shanahan has built the fact that his players have such confidence that he will reward them for doing the dirty work by getting them the ball. But I also think the kind of epitome of why this culture exists, and the credit goes to Kittle's leadership as well, right? He made first team All-Pro and broke the tight end single season receiving record in his second year in the league. And since then, his targets have depreciated thanks to, growth of other players on the offense. He's been put in situations where he's been asked to block because maybe the offensive line has had some injuries and hasn't been playing well, and they've needed to rely on him as a blocker. And he never pouts. He never asks for the ball. He just goes out there and blocks his butt off. And when he does that after he achieved all of that earlier in his career, I think it causes everybody else to kind of fall in line, because how can you throw a fit about getting the ball when George Kittle isn't? And so, like, obviously it's credit to Shanahan and Lynch. They've drafted some people who seem to have the right mindset when it comes to all of these things. And they have instilled the right culture of fairness for these people to feel this way. But I also think Kittle's leadership plays a huge part in that, because he was kind of the first of these guys to set his ego aside and set that example.
One or two things I want to say in response to that. Peter King had a good note in there that Ayuk was blocking on that Debo play for almost 6 seconds, according to his watch. He timed it, which is insane. But Joe Staley told us this on Thursday before the game. And if you missed that interview, you should definitely go and check it out. It's on the YouTube page. Download the podcast. Joe was awesome. And it looks like he's going to hopefully be able to join us again this week. Joe had a really good point in the interview. He said Kyle has also created that kind of culture because on Victory Monday, the day after the game, whenever it might be, he shows those plays to the team. He points out, look at Ayuk blocking on this play. Look at Kittle blocking on this play. Look at this. Look at that. What that does is it tells everybody, whether you're the backup tight end, you're the starting wide receiver, whatever, that effort is going to be noticed and going to be rewarded and pointed out. And on the flip side, if you don't do that, he's going to call you out for it. So he's created a positive culture of rewarding people, but also a culture of accountability where the expectation is that you are every one of you going to do this. And we saw with Ayuk, you don't do it, you don't see the ball. We will ghost you in this offense. And that shows up this time of year. And when everybody does that, you can dominate the way the 49ers do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think that's really interesting because obviously, if you don't block, you're in Shanahan's doghouse. And another block that I thought went unnoticed, the big play they had to Juwan Jennings, right? Great schemed up play, overload and run 2 verticals, 2 seams down the left side.
Kittle, the one that Jennings, Fox didn't show because they were in commercial for me. Yeah, thanks, Fox.
Oh, I saw the play. I don't know.
Yeah, they cut back to it, and Jennings was like on the ground after the play. I was like, what the hell?
So first things first, right? That was a rough throw from Purdy. Throw that ball on the sideline. He walks in for a touchdown. Okay, he's throwing the ball 30 yards down the field. It was a little bit inaccurate. Hell of a job by Jennings keeping his concentration because Quandre Diggs that play was 50-50. It was just touch and go right there. And Jennings was able to hold on as Diggs came over the top. It was bang, bang right there. But on that play, they actually have Debo motion in. He ends up having to block Uchenna Nwosu inline on the back side, or actually it's the front side, right? It's Purdy's front side. And I don't know if he does a good job blocking Uchenna Nwosu technically, but he does enough to bother Uchenna Nwosu because it is a longer developing play and he's one-on-one in that situation. And he does a fine enough job to give enough time for Purdy to step up in the pocket and throw the ball to Jennings. So just another example of a star player willing to do the dirty work on this football team.
What do they say? Sometimes the expression is die a slow death, right? You don't have to have the best blocking on a guy, but if you could just delay him enough, you can do that to make the play.